By the late 19th century, steam-powered traction engines had proven their worth in virtually every industry requiring heavy tractive effort. A vivid example is the work of the Best Manufacturing Company machines at the Siskiyou Lumber Company's logging operations in California in 1895. But these steam giants did not merely conquer the California forests, they transformed the state's agriculture, contributing to California's eventual reputation as America's breadbasket. Daniel Best's machines demonstrated remarkable practicality, productivity, and, crucially, economic efficiency. Daniel Best began his rise to industrial prominence with grain harvesting equipment designed for California's expanding agricultural market. In 1885, he introduced his first horse-drawn combined harvester, uniting a reaper, thresher, and winnower in a single machine. The timing was well chosen. California at the time accounted for 1/5 of all U.S. grain exports and 1/8 of the national wheat harvest. The fields were vast, and the demand for efficient machinery was growing steadily. To meet it, Best opened a factory in San Leandro, establishing the Daniel Best Agricultural Works, reorganized in 1893 as the Best Manufacturing Company. The turning point came in 1888, when Best witnessed a 30-horsepower Remington steam tractor at work and grasped immediately that the future of agricultural draft power lay not in teams of oxen, horses, and mules, but in mechanical power. A steam tractor coupled to his combined harvester could replace a team of 16 mules in a single operation. Best acquired the Remington patents and shipped his first self-built tractor in February 1889. The tractor's design was built around a massive steel frame. A key engineering decision was the mounting of both the boiler and the drive wheels on spring suspension, a system that effectively absorbed the shocks of travel over rough logging roads and protected the boiler's riveted joints from the destructive effects of sustained vibration. The power plant was also frame-mounted. The piston rod drove the main crankshaft through a connecting rod. From there, torque was transmitted via a gear and intermediate shaft to small drive pinions, which in turn meshed with toothed ring gears fixed to the inner faces of the drive wheels. And the machine moved. Spring-loaded tie rods maintained constant mesh between the pinions and the ring gears, even as the drive wheels shifted over uneven ground. The Best traction engines incorporated several notable design features. The vertical boiler provided excellent natural draft and a compact footprint. The three-wheel layout allowed the machine to turn within a radius comparable to that of a two-horse wagon. A working weight of 11 tons, combined with enormous steel drive wheels 8 feet in height with a 26-inch tread, gave the machine low ground pressure and excellent cross-country capability. A single engineer could control forward, reverse, and the boiler feed pump from his seat. A built-in winch allowed logs to be hauled up from deep canyons. The 1889 models developed 50 horsepower. Later models from 1897 onward produced 110. The traction engines performed well on firm, dry ground, but proved inefficient on peat and other soft soils, a limitation that ultimately drove Daniel Best toward the development of steam crawler tractors. Steam traction engines found equally successful application in other general freight haulage. One enterprising owner even competed directly with the railroads, establishing a regular freight service between Farmington and Stockton at standard railway rates, and turning a handsome profit in the process. The economies achieved in agriculture were equally striking. Plowing and seeding cost as little as 60 cents per acre, while a full grain harvest using a steam-powered combined harvester came in at just 30 cents. By any standard of the time, these were remarkable figures. Horse-drawn combines harvested for 85 cents per acre. Another outstanding representative of the era was the machinery of Engineer Doane of Verde, Nevada. These heavy locomotives, weighing up to 24 tons, worked the timber districts of Nevada, hauling lumber from the mountain sawmills down to the town of Verde. Timber was loaded onto wagons between 5 and 10 per tractor. Most of the lumber came from a distance of about 17 miles, and the round trip was completed in a single day. The engines left Verdi in the morning with empty wagons and returned with their loads in the afternoon. One recorded trip using one of these traction engines hauled up to 58,000 feet of lumber loaded onto 12 wagons, but the average haul was about 40,000 feet per trip. The Doane tractor's weight was distributed over 3 all-wheel drive, 1 in front and 2 in the rear. The front wheel also served as the steering wheel. The road over which the engines traveled was an ordinary mountain road with many up and down grades. One grade on the outward trip was 2 1/4 miles long with a rise of 1,320 feet to the mile, and on the return trip was another of equal length with a somewhat lighter grade. A further steam road train was employed to haul salt 30 miles across the desert in San Bernardino County, California, from the mines to a railroad loading point. The round trip, nearly 60 miles in total, including loading and unloading, was completed in a day and a half. The route presented an additional challenge. It passed through a waterless region, requiring the tractor to carry a substantial reserve of water for its boiler.